appreciate you all showing up. Victor, welcome to the party. Uh, Victor,
Thank you.
you made 2 sales in the past 10 days. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Hey, I just met Mike Bemis. That was a great 45 minutes I just spent with him and got everything set up.
This morning.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Yeah.
Listen, that's the most valuable tool in my company. You know, uh, it, it, he helped me guide our licensees to over $6 million in sales last month. That's
I'm
not
looking,
counting. That's
I'm
not
looking.
counting the front end sale. That's the back end sale,
It's
and
going to be,
it's happening.
yes, sir, it is. I tell you, and people are, everything you're teaching, what seems to work, everything. So I appreciate you.
Well, I wouldn't teach it if it wasn't working. That'd be a farce. I'd be an imposter.
That's
You
right.
know, I know it works. I live it. I live it every day. So, um, and it's easy for me to say I live it every day because I've had the time to build the mindset, and it's not work anymore to me. It's just a process. And um, I showed everybody earlier on a spreadsheet that I had in the suspect class that I have 42 different projects going on in the month of October. That if I can just move each one forward one step, um, it's going to be amazing. And I think we should have 120 new suspects across the United States, not counting mine, um, that we're trying to move into the prospect phase right now. So, and when I see someone stop on suspect and not move forward into prospects, I can identify the issue right then. I can say, okay, we have to really sit down and say, were they not good suspects? Is there call reluctance? What is it that's stopping that licensee from taking those suspects and moving them to prospects? And that's what this class is about, the 10 o'clock class. And that's why this class is so important to market development. So let's get started. Hello, everybody. I'm Randy Baxter, President of Asset Positioning Services. We provide the Family Estate Doc software. We teach the families. So the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, and we teach the back end sale. And like I said earlier, people going through that process in the month of August did over $6 million in annuity and life sales. Some of that was life premium. I don't count the death benefit on the life sales. I only count the premium. So let's go. Let's move forward. So let me just ask you a question. What is the logic behind building bridges in the sales process? Imagine you and a suspect are on opposite sides of a raging river. You know, you can wave at them, but there's no economic connection, no income. So, you know, in the class this morning, we discussed the definition of a suspect, someone you think would benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. And you guys need to remember, that's the only approach. When you open your mouth to convert a suspect to a prospect, that's the only thing you need to say, nothing else. You don't have to say, look how much I know, or look how many clients I have, or I want to sell you a product. And all you have to say is I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan, because you got to remember, everybody's got one. So your goal is to get your suspect to cross the river and agree to have a conversation about their current plan. That's the bridge. That's it. If you're going to do it 10 times a day, that's all you do. You're going to do it 10 times this week, that's all you do. If you're going to do it 10 times this month, that's all you do. It's okay. Because first in many cases, we have to establish your tempo. Sometimes people are at the gate, like in a horse race, and you see the horses can't wait to get started in the race, and the other horses are just sitting there calm, and some are not quite in the gate yet. But your goal is to convince that person that they would benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. So, so we need to discuss that bridge a little bit. And it's that bridge is so important, and it's so easy. All you have to do is implement it. You don't have to uh, put on a three-piece suit. You don't have to comb your hair if you're at home or on the phone. But converting a suspect to a prospect by identifying a qualified prospect. And so you have to, the first step in the suspect is you think someone would benefit from that conversation with you. You are nowhere until you convince someone to agree to talk to you about their shareable basis. That's the key. That's the only thing you want. That's the only goal you want to accomplish to move a suspect to a prospect. But it's not a straw hat and a cane dance, unless while you're dancing with a straw hat and a cane, you're saying, I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. You know, um, and if you look at it, it's just that easy, but it's so easy it looks hard to people. Don't let it be hard. You're not hurting anybody's feelings if you tell them you think they'd benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. So you have to have a goal in mind. And people are selfish. You know, you have to establish the benefit of a discussion about your suspect's current plan, not the one you want them to buy. You don't even have to worry about that. They'll buy the one that they think is appropriate, or they'll keep the one they have. Regardless of what they do, you have done your job. So you do it in an intellectually absorbable way, and that makes it a no-brainer to move forward. So I've talked about the SIN process. It's SIN, superior, intellectually absorbable, and a no-brainer. Your system, if you just follow what I say, is superior to all other approach techniques in the financial services business. The only other one that's better is, hey, my daddy said you have to talk to me, which I've seen before. Most of us don't have a daddy that has that much control. But anyway, once you've decided to approach your suspect, you need to decide on the technique you will use. And see, it's not the same technique every time. And Tony, you were talking to Lisa earlier about 10 people that don't know you, that you've never done business with in the past. That I would try the same technique every time on those people. But the approach is when you bring up the topic of the desire to include your suspect in your project. That's when you approach. You approach at the wrong time, you get cast off. Approach at the right time. Set the stage. Do the free trial. Do the hey, I've been doing business with your dad, and your mom and dad asked me to talk to you because they think that you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. So you can't go wrong. If you do it, you'll have a superior opportunity to make the front end sale. That's all you want. You don't need to worry about the back end sale right now. All you need to worry about is the opportunity to do the family tree, asset positioning, go to first interview, where you draw their family tree. That when you get that opportunity to draw that family tree, you will bond with that family. They'll like you. You'll break some boundaries. Just because they'll talk to you about it. And that's all about it is getting those micro commitments, and we can have a whole class on micro commitments one day if you want to. But if you do it right, you'll have a superior opportunity to make the front end sale. So why not just do it right? So how do you do it right? So far, all you have done is choose your target. That's a suspect. I know, I never did fix that misspelled word. You want to discuss their current plan. That's all you want to do. If you start talking product or start talking about other issues, investments and things like that, you're blowing it. So your goal is an appointment, not a sale. Unless you consider the sale is making the appointment. And just, if you make 10 appointments, you've got 7 chances at a front end sale, 3 chances at a back end sale. So set the appointment for the family estate doc's go-to interview. That's all you have to do. You want to make the appointment within 1 week because it'll stay on their mind. You put yourself at a disadvantage when you are not sincere about wanting to have the appointment. Let your suspect know you want to work with them and work with them into your busy schedule. Tony, if I was approaching you, I'd say, hey, Tony, I think you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. I'm free next Tuesday afternoon and next Thursday morning. Will any one of those days work? Don't ask them yes or no. Ask them yes or yes. But make them force the no. So let's discuss the odds of success if you do it that way. If you have 10 suspects, this is what happens. 5 will have no plan at all. 2 out of those 5 probably can't afford one. But you have to find that out. That's what I call that page 3 on the confidential. But if you have 10 suspects, 5 will have no plan at all. 5 will have a current will or trust. And 4 of the second 5 will not understand what they have. I make so much money every month on people that just want me to review plans that they already have. All you have to do is find them. So this is what I want you to say. This needs to be ingrained in your forehead on the back inside, not on the outside. I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. I have learned that people who have this conversation learn things in which they were not aware. What's more powerful than that? When I go in and deliver a trust and the witnesses come in, I say that to them. And I know that while they're witnessing things, they have already learned things in which they were not aware. And most of the time it makes them bring it up. So, most of your suspects know they need to do this, even though you don't even know them yet. They know they need to do it. They think it's going to cost too much. And I want you to ingrain $1,995 into your brain. That is a low cost, and it's got a $1,200 profit built in for you. Sometimes they just don't. Yes, question.
No, actually, it's not a question, just permission to share about the cost.
Go ahead.
I was at a pool party that I was invited to, and there was a fellow, he was talking, and I don't even know how it came up, but he talked about he had been to an attorney to get his trust, basically restated because, changes. And one of the guys in the pool asked him, well, how much did that cost? And he said, I got a great deal. He said, I worked with a guy over in Mount Juliet who did the whole thing, and he did, charged me $3,000. But yet he also told me that if he had moved his office to Hendersonville, which Hendersonville is where I live, he said the standard price in Hendersonville is $5,000. So I saved $2,000 because I was willing to drive over to Mount Juliet. And so it's like there was basically some testimonial from someone who is actually a lawyer in the business, charging more than we charge, and also telling me that he was actually charging substantially less than what the attorneys in my town are charging.
Keep a pocket full of round two it.
Well, actually, what there was I actually did a little thing. I have one of the suspects that's on that list came from that pool party.
Good. Send him around to it and offer him a free trial and tell him that it's $19.95. Okay,
That's right.
So all right, so they do not want to take the time. They don't. But they've also probably never been properly approached. That's where when I learned that I could properly approach these people and realized that it was a very green pasture that was ungrazed. That's why I have such a high success rate when I approach people. So once they agree to meet, you can send them the coming storm. But that's usually only if they're a cold relationship. Most of my warm relationships, they don't care. They just want to meet me and talk about it. Hopefully you've watched the videos on your website. So go to your website when you get time, pull up the coming storm, watch it on the client side, watch it on the licensee side. It's so valuable. Tony, when you send those people the free trial, about 2 days, 48 hours later, send them the coming storm
Okay,
and don't call. Wait another day.
got you.
But you cannot build a proper bridge to the back end sale if you're struggling with the bridge to prospect conversion. You know, that's you want to do it, but you're afraid to do it, or you want to do it and you haven't scheduled it into your busy calendar. You want to do it, you know, there's all the reasons you want to, but you just haven't. You're able to and you want to, but you haven't been willing to invest the time. That most of the time, that's the issue. So it's okay not to be ready to build the bridge to the back end sale. You do not have to be an expert in the back end sale to be an expert in the front end sale. And once you get the front end sale, you've got a week or 10 days to master the back end sale. Schedule a one-on-one appointment with me, go watch the videos, pull up the script, you know, just do it right. And if you have a problem with it, if I'm not available, call Mike Bemis and tell Mike Bemis your numbers. Show him the numbers that you collected in the front end sale. You know, so it's not okay to build a bridge to the back end sale as long as you are building the bridges of suspect to prospect. I mean, I'm trying to say it's okay not to be ready as long as you're building the bridge between suspect and prospect to client. This system is superior to what you've been taught in the past. It's easy to learn and master. And if you see the picture correctly, it's a no-brainer. You know, I'm going to teach you and your downline, if you have one, how to prosper with a proper process that leads to conversation about estate planning and funding. That's what I'm up to. I have people sometimes call me and say, I want you to let me introduce myself to all your prospects so I can sell them something else. And the answer is no. I don't want that. I don't want to dilute what I'm trying to teach people. Let me teach you to be a process professional and not a product pusher. That's all I want to do. I'm good at it. If you're a good learner, you'll see the numbers start to appear that I'm talking about. Your first decision is how to make the initial contact. And Tony, we've talked about this morning already. It could be a phone call, but don't make a phone call if they don't communicate by phone. You can be a text, but don't send them a text unless they're communicating with you by text. You can send them an email, but don't call them. Communicate by email until you warm them up. Always communicate with the media that they are communicating with you on. Now, if they don't respond to your email, send them a text. If they don't respond to your text, send them a handwritten note or a phone call. You know, mix it until, you know, sometimes the only reason people don't make an appointment is because you're not communicating with them in the form that they communicate. Maybe send them the coming storm video, then call and tell them why you sent it to them. I thought you would benefit from a conversation with me concerning the current estate plan. Or email them. You don't have to call them. If you email them the coming storm, email them this message. I thought you would benefit from a conversation with me concerning your estate plan. I will call you in the next day or so to see what you think. You can move them over to the phone call, but they may respond by email and say, you're right. When can we do this? It really is that easy to implement. And the only thing that stops people, well, before I do that, I want to tell you a little story about the first time I went rappelling. Rappelling is to descend a rock face or other near vertical surface by using a doubled rope coiled around the body and fixed at a higher point. I don't know if any of you have been rappelling before, but my first time was horrible. It was a terrible experience for me. It got to be my turn, and my friends were watching, and they were encouraging me to walk off that cliff backwards and to trust the equipment. And I'll be honest with you, I was trying to hide the fact that I was scared, that I lacked the confidence, and I wanted to run and hide. But I had a coach there who was my friend. He said all I had to do was lean backward and start walking down the cliff wall. Huh. That was not an easy decision for me. So, when it got to be my turn, I was just, apprehensive. I had to make 3 decisions. I didn't even know I was making these decisions at the time. But the decisions were, am I able to do it? Well, yeah. Did I want to do it? I wasn't so sure about that. And was I willing to do it? Well, I didn't even want to. But I had to overcome all that. I hooked up and had my coach check everything for security's sake. I listened to his words of encouragement. There I was with a rope about the size of a penny in width that stretched and bounced. And I heard my friends down below saying, come on down. They were calling me names, to be honest with you. Scaredy cat and chicken crap, and all that kind of stuff. But I was scared. I had no confidence. I looked over my shoulder and saw the cliff, and the people down below seemed so small, and I had what I call the heebie-jeebies. You know, get over it if you have the heebie-jeebies on converting suspects to prospects, because what I'm telling you is just like that coach was telling me, you will be okay. So he said, lean back, trust your equipment and training. He said, everyone has fears the first time. Then he said, I have taught you what experienced belayer below who can control the speed of your descent if you lose control. Everything is true about that in my training program to get you to get into estate planning. Heebie-jeebies and lack of confidence was the only thing stopping me from being one of the people below who had conquered those fears. So I leaned over and took the first step, and I realized that you take the first step, you can't walk back up. I did what I was taught, and I walked down that 20. It wasn't a 20-foot cliff; it was a 200-foot cliff by myself. I wished it had been a 20-foot cliff; it would have been a lot easier. But each step took me closer to my goal. And then I eventually reached the bottom. And my confidence grew as I got closer to the bottom. When I got down, the 12-year-old girl who had gone before me asked, "Did you like it? I hope I get to do it again." She trusted the process. That's how easy it was to do. And yeah, it's easier the second time. The first one was the hardest. You have 10 suspects to learn from. That was your ticket to this class. It's easier if you are approaching people who have done business with you in the past. And this is how it should go down. If it doesn't go down this way, let's talk about it. But you've selected 10 suspects, and they're either already clients or part of the 600 people you already know, or maybe you purchased them. Either way, it doesn't matter. Of those 10, if you approach them correctly, 7 will agree to talk to you on a favorable basis if you approach them in one of the ways I described earlier. 3 will buy from you if you do the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview correctly. And I see, but that's where a lot of people mess up. They get out there and they try to wing it on their own, unprepared, and they mess it up. There may even be somebody in this room who spent 2 or 3 hours on one of their first interviews. It should be 45 minutes. 1 will want an immediate back-end repositioning interview within a week. That's the back-end sale. So if you approach 10, 7 will agree to talk to you, 3 will buy the front end, and 1 will want an immediate back-end appointment. That happens every time. And if it doesn't happen, we should discuss the quality of your suspect or the quality of your presentation. But right now, we're not worried about the presentation. We're worried about, can you make the appointment? Do they know you, like you, trust you? Did you say what I taught you to say? No, no, I got to quit doing these things at 4 o'clock in the morning. What were their reasons for saying no? And you got to remember, 3 are going to say no. So what? Next. You should be preparing your second 10 suspects. I've got about 7 or 8 of my next suspects when I get time to get to them. If no, ask yourself why not. If they say no, figure out why. And it could be that they like their attorney, they don't like you, they didn't like the uncertainty they heard in your voice. They didn't, it could have been they weren't even qualified to have a good estate plan, didn't have the money to buy it, didn't want to say it to you. And sometimes people that get in financial trouble are the very ones that need to have a good financial plan, good estate plan. So go ahead and call those people, make the appointment today. It's okay. It's okay if they say no. If they say no, they know what you do. So this week, this is your only task. Contact these 10 people that you submitted to qualify for this class and ask yourself why you did not if you don't. So, there's always good reasons and real reasons. But if you're able and want to and willing to schedule it, you'll do it. If you're able and want to and not willing to actually follow up the schedule, you're not going to be success at it. Any of those 3, if you can't do them, you've got a problem that you need to try and solve if you can. So remember Yoda in Star Wars, he was talking about a big battle, was about to get something they had to accomplish, and he said he was talking to somebody in the movie. I don't remember who, but he said, "There is no try. Only do or don't." And I know that's not Yoda to the left of you. Sometimes that's how I feel. Sometimes maybe that's how you feel. But the message is the same. Your success is determined by the quality of the suspects you select. Quality in, quality out. Garbage in, garbage out. And each time you select new suspects, you'll get better. So, just because you have 10 suspects, next week you should still have 10 suspects and some of them will be the ones you could not contact. But the rest of them ought to be moved over into the prospect phase. And soon, when you start delivering estate plans, you'll be getting referrals, and a referral is the easiest suspect you can generate when you don't know people. So your ticket to next week's class is the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First Interview, a minimum of 1 to 3 appointments, but be careful, you may have 7. Oh my gosh. I like to have 4 to 6 go backs if I have time. A go back is an attempt at the back end sale. And I've heard people say, I haven't made a back end sale yet. I need to watch you do it. I want you to go to my website and watch me do it. I want you to watch me do it. I'll help you coach. I'll coach you through it. I can coach you through it better if you don't make the sale. I can find out why. But if you're prepared and you go in and use the page 2 of the confidential correctly, and you talk about the income, and you talk about the gaps and the cliffs and the sure things and the maybes, people, the folks I talked to Friday that set an appointment for me next Friday, I went in Friday to introduce them introduce them to the back end sale. And I knew that if I went through page 2 of the confidential with them, because they already had an existing trust, if I went through page 2 of the confidential, that they would want to make an appointment. And Mom looked at Dad while I was there, and she said, "This is exactly what I want. We're going to do this." And then she said, "How do we do it?" And I said, "Well, what we do is I have to go back and do some research, and I need to run some numbers. When I come back, I'll show you the numbers. Will that be okay?" And they said, "Absolutely." 10 o'clock Friday morning. They're home on the lake. Lots of money. Use your spreadsheet to move your suspects to your prospect list. I've thought about this appointment I have Friday. They've got all their money with Fisher Investments. And they said, "We don't like Fisher Investments." I thought everybody liked Fisher Investments. They said, "No, they really don't give us any respect. They tell us what to do." So there's $800,000 there. They have a $2,300 immediate loss at the death of the first spouse. So that tells me that's about a $460,000 annuity contract. It pays out at 5. They're kind of young. Grows at 6, pays out at 5. So somewhere between $400,000 and $450,000. And they've got $800,000 left. And I almost know that I can use one of my power phrases Friday to pick up an additional sale. I may even have a future sale there. Hey, you've already won the game. Why are you still at risk? And I think I'll pick up another couple, maybe $400,000 in a MIGA. So I might do a 400,000 income index annuity and maybe a $400,000 MIGA, or maybe some kind of variation there, But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the numbers, and I'm going to go in and show them the numbers, and I'm going to let them make the choice. I'm not going to try to sell a product. I'm going to let them buy the income they want, and I'm going to let them buy the amount of risk that they think that they need to keep. And they're going to take don't think they need to keep. I think they're going to move into another safer 100% guaranteed principal product. That sounded easy, didn't it? All I had to do was convince them that page 2 that they needed to have the conversation, and then all I got to do is call Mike Bemis and tell him what I need. He'll have it ready for me. I know that just by Friday there's a $800,000 potential sale. Thursday there's a $170,000 future sale. Sometime this week, if I get time to go to Gatlinburg, there's a $50,000 future sale. Sometimes the $50,000 sales are not. I put them on the back burner if I'm working on a couple of $800,000 or $900,000 sales. But that's called momentum. And no, you cannot have your momentum until you learn how to convert the suspect to the prospect. So I'm going to be bold and maybe overconfident, or maybe whatever words you want to apply to it that's negative, but I'm giving you the right coaching. You have the right gear with an H. Just lean back and take the first step. Convert your suspects to prospects. It works, but only if you use it. So for the next few minutes, I'd like to take some questions here. Tony? Go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry, Randall. Mike had a question in the chat. He said, clarification, you said to send the video prior to the free trial, ?
You're talking about the coming storm?
Yes.
You have to
Yes.
decide. Yeah, you have to decide the order. If you don't know this person and it's a referral or it's a purchase name, you can send them the coming storm first and then offer them the free trial, or you can offer them the free trial and then send them the coming storm. It's just all in what you say in your contact. Okay, so either one works. It's just your style. Okay, I use the coming storm most of the time if just to make people aware that I exist, and then I might turn around and do the free trial. But to be honest with you, I stay so busy I don't have to issue free trials but to get as busy as I am, I did issue free trials. Does that make sense? If you've got an existing client, send them the coming storm and tell them why you're sending them the video, and then offer them the free trial. When you do the free trial, you can do the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview on the phone or in a Zoom call. All you want is to, the whole goal is to engage people in an ongoing conversation, because that ongoing conversation should last the rest of their lives, because they're going to have relationship changes, asset changes, and health changes. And they're going to have been talking to you so long that they're just going to be used to telling you, hey, I just got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, or I just got diagnosed with diabetes, or my brother, my son's wife just divorced him, or my youngest son is a drug addict, or my youngest daughter's got real credit problems, and they'll tell you that in the family tree, and they're looking for answers. So, don't worry about what you're selling, what product. I promise you, the right product will make itself known to you and to your client with Mike Bemis's help or with my help or without Mike Bemis's or my help. You can probably maybe do it on your own. If you have that conversation, the right products will volunteer themselves. They'll come up. All you have to do is the research and run the numbers. And you have to get them agree that if you do the research and if you run the numbers, will they take a look? And they'll all say yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And you know what the word for this year is? Implement. Any other questions? How about it, Tony? Do you have any questions?
Oh, I'm good at the moment. Well, okay, let me ask another potential, prospect area. You know that with my choir, every week we get the list of people that have new changes in their life, almost always health related.
Right.
So, what would be what would be the best way? And with most of it, the only thing I have is an email list. Our choir list
Right.
does not have phone numbers.
Okay.
So I guess,
Hey.
what would be a good, couple step process to utilize that?
Okay, Tony, I'm in the same choir with you, and I get that same list. And I know you're in the business. I got to get rid of you. I got to eliminate you. Okay. If I wanted to do that, I would say, hey, I saw in the newsletter that you're having some health issues. I thought you might benefit from this short video called The Coming Storm.
Okay.
If you're interested in it, I'll be in touch in a few days to talk to you about it. And when you do, send them the free trial or make an appointment with them. They trust you. What are you, a soprano?
Ah, no, I'm I'm a tweener. I'm a tenor. It's like I'm a tenor that can't hit the high range, and so I call myself a tenor tone because it's like
Okay.
I'm mostly
Okay.
tenor baritone.
Okay. All right. All right. So see, they're giving you these leads every week. And they're going to be thankful that you approach them correctly.
Okay, so
You
just
know,
an email that basically,
yeah,
hey, I saw your name.
I saw your
Right.
name about the health questions. I think you might, there's a short video I'd like for you to watch. I think you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. That's
Okay.
all. You know,
Yep.
uh, you use the same approach. Have you ever been to a rodeo and watched those cowboys trip those cows and brand them? Man, they
Yep.
do the same thing every time. And they do the same thing, and the only way they can measure who's good and who's not is they measure the time it took them to do it. So use the same technique every time, and you watch your estate sales go up considerably. Wynn, have you learned anything this morning?
I think that this class was actually really good. So it's just kind of solidified some things that I already knew and kind of put into place other things that I had known but had kind of let go of or forgot about.
Okay. And you can't forget about them if you put them on a spreadsheet once a week and look and see where you are.
I don't mean my people, I don't forget them, and they are on a
Okay.
spreadsheet, but I mean,
Okay.
just like in processes.
Okay. How about you, Victor, new boy? Victor, are you there?
Yeah, my internet's a little unstable. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you right now. Yes, sir.
Okay,
What did you learn? What did you learn today?
Well, the one thing I need to really do is get my spreadsheet going. I've spent so much time working on getting the business part of it because that's what I've always done. But
Right.
all the insurance licenses, notary, and all that stuff, because I wanted to make sure whenever I hit the ground running, I was ready to go. But the prospects, they just seem to be coming in before I can make my list up. I run into somebody and I ask them, or I tell them, I think you'd benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. And they look at me like deer in the headlights and say, well, how would that be? And then I just kind of go in with them right then and say, let's set up an appointment. And then, so that has really been, it's really been successful, setting up the
Okay.
appointment. So,
Okay. So just remember one thing. There is one answer that you can always use. when they say, what does that mean? And you can say, most of the people who talk with me about their estate plan learned things in which they were not aware.
That's good. That's
Okay,
good.
so that you throw the punch with the left, and when they respond, you can pop them with the right and go, because you're going to learn something that you probably weren't aware of.
That's right. And Randy, I'm gonna tell you something too. This process is so easy the way you're teaching it. If we do apply it, I've noticed that it's so easy, everything, even the software, now that you've seen how it goes, it's almost hard to slow down because of the excitement. And you really want to press that excitement off on them. Maybe try not to, but it's just so
Okay.
easy. And you want
All
it
right.
to be, you want it to convey to them. So I really have to slow down and not show so much excitement. That's
All right.
my, so,
Do 10 first.
okay.
Okay, just slow it down and see what your success or failure is with 10 names. Eventually you'll be like me. Once you get to stage 4, you'll have a potential of 100 to 120 cases each week that come in. I'll be honest with you, sometimes it drives me crazy, doesn't it, Win? But,
Yes.
and sometimes I realize I have to slow it down. And sometimes the way I slow it down is by teaching the licensee what to do. Because those things, a lot of the questions that come into me are questions that eventually the licensee should handle themselves. But I understand they're not ready. Okay. Right now, I've got 12 licensees in this course. And the momentum's starting to grow, and we're getting ready to go into a mass recruiting program that I'm really excited about. Because I don't want 170 licensees across the United States. There is room for 3,000 or more. And all I'm saying to you is you are, even though I've been doing this for 3 years, most people are still in the early stages of development and the early stages of awareness of what the potential is. And that's all, but you can't look at it like 1,000. You have to look at it like it's 10. And then next week, add 10 more. And the next week or month, add 10 more. And you'll start to grow at the level that you think is the best. Okay. I like licensees who want to shoot for $250,000 in their first, at the rate of $250,000 in their first 90 to 120 days. And that's about $20,000 a month income. That's 3 or 4 trust sales and 1 or 2 back end sales a month. And that's easy. That's easy. That should be 10 or 15 suspects, qualified suspects that are quality suspects. And if I have to teach you how to qualify a suspect, that's what we'll do. If I have to teach you how to approach them, that's what we'll do. If I have to teach you what you need to say to them when you get the appointment, that's what we'll do. If I need to teach you how to deliver it once you make the sale, that's what we'll do. So the 11 o'clock class is on the sales presentation. So those of you who are here with us today who want to go over the sales presentation, I'm going to do that at 11 o'clock. And I'm going to work with you on it. And I hope you'll be here. If you have your classes, you ought to go ahead and print off a copy of the agenda on your 30-day advanced training spoon-fed courses and have your agenda sitting in front of you. So I'll take questions if you have any more. How about it, Robert or Mike? Do you guys have any more questions?
Nothing
No
more in the chat.
No questions. Been taking it all in, taking notes. So I realizing that I need to do a little bit more studying, but get ready to go. Thank you.
Hey, you need a little bit more studying and come on in and join the coaching. The next hour is a big one. If you have time, I know it's busy. It's Monday. I don't know if but if it comes to next Monday, be at the 11 o'clock class. If you want to be there today, be there. And while it's
Okay.
fresh on your mind, by 1 o'clock this afternoon, you ought to be ready to attack and convert.
Is
Okay?
that the same link?
Same link, 11 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
Any other
Thank you.
questions before I take another coffee break?
Yeah, quickly, I'm
Go ahead.
signed in on the Randall Baxter training. You said to download something to have in front of us for the next hour.
Well, you can go to your Lisa, can you put the link to the agenda on there?
Yes, I will do.
Okay, and you need to have a copy of the agenda. I'm going to teach the agenda the next class at 11 o'clock. And this is the agenda for the front end sale.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. I've customized an agenda. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Okay, all right. So have it, and those who follow the agenda make more sales than those who don't. So that's what we're going to talk about at 11 o'clock. Lisa, I'm going to take a break. I'll just hang on to this chat, and you and I here in a little while, we'll get up the next PowerPoint.
Sounds great.
Any
Thanks,
more-
Randall. The
any-
link
any
for
more
the agenda.
any more? Okay, any more questions? All right. Coffee time.